O death, thou too art God, thou art supreme. In other words, actually, it is Supreme Himself who has taken that poise of death for a certain purpose. And because He has taken that poise, therefore He is not that. He has taken that position. In other words, this God can take the double poise of death and of Himself, which death cannot do, but only His own black shadow on His path. This is poetry, sheer poetry, black shadow. You don't have bright shadow, you can't have. See, but only His own black shadow on His path. As leaving the night, He takes the upward way and drags with Him His clinging inconscient foes.
But she created the four Azuras, no?
Pardon?
There are four, one is death. There are these four big Azuras, one is death. So she created them. It's not that death is God, but she actually has created them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is she who is making it clear to him.
Yeah, but those who are God means the four Azuras.
You see, she says God and yet not He.
Okay.
Now, it means that He can become death, but death cannot become He.
That's true. But she, the mother, has created those four beings first. She created them. They are her creation. It's not an arbitrary.
Now, she is not talking directly about herself. She is talking as death, for death. What it means that God can have His power as Savitri. In contrast to that, death doesn't have that kind of a power.
Yeah, I understand. But my question is, Savitri as the Divine Mother created four beings. Four beings.
Yes.
Of which one is death.
Yeah, well, that is mother story of creation. Yeah, okay. No, but this is something beyond that. This is something. See, mother story begins with the cosmic manifestation. Mother story begins with the cosmic manifestation. Four powers separated in the cosmic process. Whereas this is something which is coming from the unknowable directly, where there is no question of four powers. Savitri, divine goddess, is the force of the unknowable. It is that unknowable God who has taken this poise here as death. Yes. Mother's thing is in the cosmic process, you see. It is the divine himself. How, etc., that she is not elaborating here. That she is not elaborating here. Yeah. But here, what I am trying to say is, this God has a force as Savitri. Corresponding to that, death really doesn't have that force. Yeah. And therefore, not yet he.
That is clear.
You see? Yeah. But only his own black shadow on his path, he of course stands for God. As leaving the night, now it is this, he who is leaving the night and takes the upward way. She is talking, he has come here and now he is climbing up on the upward way. While he is climbing the upward way, the inconscient force clings to him. and drags with him is clinging inconscient force as he is climbing up. You see. Of God unconscious thou art, and the dark head of his ignorance thou art the impenitent sign, unrepentant. You don't repent about being that, you see. Of his ignorance, thou art the impenitent sign of his vast tenebrous womb, the natural child on his immortality, the sinister bar. Because it is natural. It has to happen that way. We are coming up from the night, therefore all these things had to happen here. All contraries are aspects of God's face. Therefore, you are also God. You look to be somebody else, shadow, etc., etc., but you are a contrary of God's face. Now, actually, this statement, from here onward to some extent, all contraries or aspects of God's face are, in a way, in answer to what death was asserting. God's yes and no. So, they had come to listen to Savitri and they are merrily grazing. So God's yes and no, it is that yes and no is kind of being taken care of by Savitri in her response to death. She was talking about two poles, etc., all that, no? And then there is a great elaboration. All contraries are aspects of God's face. Now, Savitri is going to give a lesson to Yama in Upanishad. She is going to tell all that has been told in the Upanishad to this God. The many are the innumerable one. This is a typical Upanishadic statement. The one carried the multitude in his breast. He is the impersonal, inscrutable soul. He is the one infinite person, seeing his world. The silence bears the eternal's great dumb seal. His light inspires the eternal world. He immobilizes deep and deathless hush. Is wide and signless blank, negating all. Yet stand the Creator self, the Almighty Lord, and watches His will done with the forms of gods and the desire that goes half-conscious man and the reluctant and unseeing night. So this is typically Upanishadic, you see. Now here it says, white and signless blank, negating calm. The cereal dragon, the great cereal dragon with white head and black tail, what Yama was talking about earlier, cereal dragon. It is that. A great cereal dragon in the sky. One 46.8. So she is taking care of every kind of statement he has made, you see. And this is pure Upanishad. Now, of course, the many are the innumerable one. The one carried the multitude in his breast. Savitri is making a statement. Is this her realization? Is he talking out of her realization or out of intuition? Is Savitri talking that yes, many are one and one is many? Is this her realization? Now, she is not making a statement in a kind of a philosophical, spiritual philosophy or metaphysics manner. She is talking with a certain kind of a force. That force cannot come without realization. It is not what I mean, just an argument that she is putting forward to answer something what death has said. She is kind of bringing out a force out of her realized experience of this one, and it is that force which is really going to make the full impact on him. Otherwise, no. It is not a mental argument, it is not a metaphysical argument, it is a force. The many are the innumerable one, the one is in silence with eternal's great, and the reluctant and unseeing night. This is standard, all that thing. Then these wide divine extremes, the contraries, the yes and no, these inverse powers are the right and left side of the body of God. Existence balanced twixt two mighty arms confront the mind with unsolved visions of thought. This is the fact. But as far as mind is concerned, mind is baffled by it. Mind gets confronted by this thing and remains without any understanding of it. Unsolved visions of thought. This is a fact. But as far as mind is concerned, for mind it is an unsolved aspect of contrary. How yes and no can be together is a problem of mind. And that problem for mind remains unsolved. What does mind see? Darkness below, a fathomless light above. This great serial dragon. Darkness below, a fathomless light above. In light joined but suspended by severing mind. It is mind which has, sundered by severing mind. Darkness below, a fathomless light above. In light are joined but sundered by severing mind. Stand face to face, opposite, inseparable, two contraries needed for his great world task. Two poles whose currents weigh the immense world force. Had this not been so, the world force would not have become active. You have got the positive pole and negative pole, and it is between them that the current is flowing. That is the world force acting. So for a certain purpose, for the functioning of things, it is necessary that life kind of divides itself into two, darkness below and light above. The great serial dragon is the image you see. Unless you have got two opposite poles, there cannot be current. What is the current? The force which flows between them, the world force. You have got in conscience, you have got superconscious, and the world force which is now kind of going between these two and carrying out things. Darkness below, says light joined, stand face to face, opposite, inseparable, true contraries needed. Without that, things cannot function, cannot happen. If they have to happen, needed for what? for the great world task. If a new creation has to come, it is only by this mechanism that it can happen. In other words, for the new creation, for a new manifestation, for a higher manifestation, this is the only process, this is the unique process. It cannot be otherwise. Two poles whose currents wake the magnet, positive pole, negative pole, and there is a magnetic field between the two, joining them.